Right, here we go. Hey guys, this is Matt from Allpacks, and today we're going to be doing a walk through the setup of a scene Archviz Studio tool. So this is basically the demo scene, which kind of comes with the pack, and here you got a kind of whole host of modular furniture pieces that you kind of use in your own packs, and they kind of range from televisions to fridges to sinks, taps, stools, seats, cupboards, pictures, beds, and a whole host of materials. So what you'll basically end up with is something like this. You look around, and now we can kind of use the WASD keys to move around, and pressing M brings up the map. Kind of shows us in the scene where we are when we walk around the map and around the apartment. Pressing H brings up the keyboard shortcuts, and here we kind of see there's a list of tools that you can use to capture photographs in the game, and also interact with the furniture that I'll show you later in the video how to set up. And pressing X would bring up edit mode, and then around here we can kind of look to see what's kind of been set up to be able to change. And one of them is this, so you can kind of change the materials. In the PC version, because obviously you're limited with the screen space, same as the mobile, this sphere will change the meshes for you. You've got to set up there as well. We get X to come back out of edit mode, and if we go to the bedroom, we'll kind of see there's some other objects which are set up for you guys to edit, and it's pretty impressive. You can change that for a window, and then we can change this one for window as well, and you really can see how versatile this tool is, and how clients can obviously edit their own choices for modular apartments like this, or just for changing chairs and tables and other pieces to kind of imagine themselves in the space, or to kind of order their customization. Now, so you have features like doors opening, so players can obviously access different parts of the apartment like this. And we're going to be showing you guys how to do all this now, so let's get started. So the first thing to do is to take the ini file, which you downloaded with the documentation from the Gumroad link on the front of the marketplace, and you want to install that by going to Edit, Project Settings, then on toolbar scroll down to Input, and then put Import, and then find that ini file, import in. That will give you all of the controls for VR and for the keyboard. And now all we need to do is add the blueprint components to the map you've created to the environment. It's very simple. First off, we start off with the scene manager, and if we come down here, we'll just find the BP scene manager, and just don't know what that's expanded for. Okay, yeah, so we grab the BP scene manager and we'll drag that into the environment and let go. This can be anywhere in the environment, it doesn't have to be in a particular area, but this is kind of your main control blueprint. And then we also want to go to the modes tab, and you want to grab yourself a post-processing volume, and we can drag that anywhere into the environment as well. So with the post-process volume selected, we scroll down and you'll find a little tick box called Infinite Extend Unbound, and you want to tick that. And then the next step on the documentation is to add the post-processing material, and we'll find that under Rendering Features, Post-Processing Materials, and then we can add a material, and then we can look at asset reference, and then the one we want is called pp underscore outliner instance. So now we have that selected, so that part's done. Okay, now on our scene manager that we dragged in earlier, you can basically go around now and set this up to work on desktop. For instance, we want to be able to change this workstation. We want to be able to switch between this workstation and, say, the table. So with that BP scene manager selected, we go down to editable actors and we add this actor, and we can do the easy way by pick actor from scene with a little eyedropper. You select it and it's now been added to our editable actors, and with this we can then choose if we want to be able to change the meshes or if we want to change the materials. We'll start with the meshes, and we want to add the two that you want to switch between. So you always start with your default, and we'll basically find out where the workstation island is, and we'll drag that as the default, and then we want to add the table, which is just here. So now we have these two, and we can basically switch between those two. We also want to be able to change the materials. Obviously, all your assets will have the same configuration. They'll have different material slots. For instance, we have the chrome on the taps, and then the chrome on the fridge, which should be like 1 and 2. We also have the white gloss, which is the paint effect on the top. We have the wooden surface, which is what you'll see on the outside, and then we have the metal handles and the white gloss for the front of the cupboards. So it means you can kind of like affect all of these individually. Let's have a look at this table actually, and we'll see which materials we want to change. So we double click on that, we'll bring up that asset, and you'll see that they've all been named, and it's a very it's a good practice for you to kind of get into the habit of when you ever create your own assets. So you'll see that each of these material slots have been named. The first one just starts off with kind of the general chrome, but the other ones obviously are targeted towards their actual furniture piece, like the appliance, which would be the fridge or the dishwasher, sorry, and then the work surface, and then the cupboard, and then the cupboard handle and the cupboard door. So you can see that each one of these is named, and it's shown in which part of the model that this material has been applied to, and each of these have elements. So it just means like this one has 5 materials, or 6 including 0, and they range from material 0 to material 5, and then each one has name, just kind of make it a bit clearer to what they're actually affecting. So if we can close that now, or let's just minimize it so it's a bit smaller. So what we're going to do in this scene manager, we have our island, and we want to add say 3 materials. So we want to add 3 materials, and the element we want to work on is going to be the work surface, which is element number 2. So as you can see up in that top right hand corner, we have that wood, this one here, and this is element 3. But element 2 is the white glass, and that is the work surface, and that's what we want to change. So we can change this to affect element 2, and we can kind of go in now and grab some of these materials. So say white glass is the first one, and then you can add any material to this. So you can bring in the material from other packs you have, and from the Archviz examples that Unreal have made. And we're going to also grab in some wood as well. So let's grab in some wood. Let's also grab in some chrome as well. You want to grab the material instances, not the masters. And that now has 3 material options, and it has 2 mesh options. And yeah, you don't need to concern yourself with these ones unless if the object's facing the other 90-degree angle, then you can always tick forward axis as Y and it will flip that for you. And if you're working in VR, then you can tick them as interactable, which means you can pick them up and move them around, and that only works in obviously the Vive and the Oculus Rift. Okay, now with the scene manager still selected, you want to make sure that the platform is set to desktop. If you did want to make, for instance, like this, an interactive object, obviously you would set this as is interactable, and then you'd also change the mesh itself to being movable. So with that done, we can just check in the world settings that the game mode is set to BP game mode, and we can hit play, and there we have it. You can press H or Tab to bring up the options, and we're going to just check to see if our object's set up correctly. So yeah, so it's highlighting, it's showing you that there is options there, and clicking it brings up our menu material options, and as we can see, they're all set up nicely. And we hit the mesh. Yep, so we're all set up. Now let's add the door mechanism. So let's start off with this door here, and we want to go into the blueprints. So we drag in the BP door, and then we notice on the door mesh that at the moment we have the right door, and we want the door to be facing and sort of starting the other way. So in our assets, we can grab the door, which is door left, drag it onto the slot, and now we have our door facing the correct way. And we can position this where we want it, and you see there's options of how much you want the door to rotate, the delay of how long the door stays open for, and we can also change the direction, so rotate the opposite way. And do we want the door to be a sliding door or one on a hinge? And obviously we want the hinge one. So if you hit play, we can then test this out. So now it's opening in the other direction, so we want to stop that. Select it again and put toggle open direction. And there you go, press play. And then now when we walk up to it, it opens in the correct manner, and that's perfect. That's just what we want. And it's a similar thing for this one. So we want to go back to blueprints, and we want to drag in BP door, and we want to change this mesh into one of the frames we have. So we're going to go into our options, and I merged a window and a glass frame together, and I call it SM window frame door, and we drag that into place. Perfect. Let's drag that into the right position, and we want to change that to is sliding door. Hit play. Now we try it, it slides open, and that's really it. There's nothing more complicated than that. So next thing we want is we want to set up a really nice feature, which is the map, and I'll show the client where they are in the environment as they're walking around. So we want to go into the blueprints and drag in the map blueprint, and you want to put that in the center of your environment, the center of your scene. And on the default textures, and then in the default textures, you want to add as many textures as there are levels. So we have 2 floors, so we want to go in and drag in map 1 and then map 2. Move this up a little bit so we won't get any fighting. And they're both laid on top of each other now, so we want to tell Unreal how high our second floor is, sorry. So to make them on top of each other, we want to tell Unreal how high the floor is. So if we go down to floor height and add the 2 floors, and then we just pull up on the second floor, and we'll see it start to raise up. There we go. And our first floor is good if we want just above the floor, so there's no fighting. We'll notice it's pointing the wrong direction. Let's say if we're going horizontal, and we can see what that looks like. If we press M, we'll see that we're not in the correct orientation. So we go back to our map, and we can put map render angle, change that to 90, and we'll see it's now rotated around into the correct orientation. And now we just want to position it, and we want to scale it until it's meeting the edges of our walls, and everything looks like it's in the correct position. And you can do this by hand. You don't have to keep feeding in numbers. You can just keep scaling it until it looks like it's correct. And once we have it correct, we can then hit play to test it, and now we'll see we're facing in the correct direction and everything's working as it should. Okay, so the final thing we want to do is we want to add the points of interest, which will be able to allow your clients to kind of quickly jump to areas that you think are important in the scene. So we can do that by grabbing the BP points of interest and drop them into the scene and kind of orientate them where you want the player to be looking when they jump to that area. You also want to use our feature, which is the naming, and you kind of call this say dining area, and whenever the player loads into a different point of interest, they'll be notified that that's the area they're in. So we can see in here that we want to tweak our map on this floor, so we can kind of just pull the height down. There we go. So let's go into the point of interest, drag one here, just rotate that around, so we're going to look in this way, and we can call this one bedroom 01, and let's do one final one and go for the living space. So this is the salon. So now we're going to hit play, and we have our map working, and we can also, so now we have everything working, and we can see from the shortcuts on the side that the points of interest would be N. So now we press N, we not only are taken to that area that we want the client to see, but we're also told in the bottom right hand corner, this is the bedroom one, and this is the salon, and this is the dining area. So you can see there's a lot of features on here, and we can also show you the camera as well. So pressing C brings up the camera, and you also have autofocus on certain objects that you want to draw attention to. That never fucking works. So you can bring up the camera, and we can scroll into the area we want, like this. Maybe I don't have something set up. Hey Trev, can I ask you a quick question, bud? Like, if the camera's not working for the focus, have I not set the post processing up correctly? Like, for instance, if I have the camera mode up, then I press F, it's just blurring everything instead. Is that to do? I've checked the what's it called, indefinite. I've got that checked, and I think that's
like try they do it again.
yeah. See, and then I press. It is F, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, it says camera, and then F is autofocus. So go camera.
Maybe like go closer to an object. Might be.
So I've just set up a new scene. I can always try and go back to the original. Yeah, that's. Okay, my one is. What's it called? Oh shit, I'm already in it. Bollocks.
You change it.
Yeah, I copied the scene, but let's go. I've edited the original. Okay, so this is the original. And no, it's being fucking weird, right?
It seems to be doing something.
Could you check on yours to see what's working on yours? I might have dodged something up my side, or maybe I've messed around with the fucking the HDR or something. I think that's it now for the setup. Okay, so stop there and leave it like that for a while, and then okay, so now it's set up and working for desktop. We're going to now try and set it up and export it out to the Go. So, if we want to set it up from the Go, we basically use the steps we have just done for the desktop, and we want to first off change the game mode to none, and we want to wait a minute, okay, maybe I fucked up the play start, did I? No, okay, how that was. And the last thing we want to do is we want to drag in a player start so we can determine where the player is going to start in the environment. And there we go.